Aho, greetings, my relatives. My name is Tony Gonzales, and welcome to our program, Eagle and Condor. And with me is our guest and friend, calendar reader, Bismarck Delgado. My relatives, today indeed is a very special day. As you know, June 25, 1876. Colonel George Armstrong Custer died for your sins at the Little Big Horn. That's right, the little greasy grass. And that was on June 25. And then fast forward to June 26 of 1975. There was a shootout at the Jumping Bull compound in South Dakota. And the police had come into the Pine Ridge Reservation like a military regiment, and were seeking for people, and one in particular for a past warrant. And in the process, a shootout ensued, and 2 FBI agents were killed. Leonard Peltier was among those that were on the grounds, along with Dino Butler and Robert Robidoux, who were the 3 individuals identified in the shootout. And Dino Butler and Robert Robidoux since then had gone to court and were exonerated under the judicious decision of self-defense. Leonard Peltier, who felt that he would not receive justice in the United States, had fled to Canada. He was extradited on false testimony by Miss Myrtle Poorbear, and Leonard has languished in prison now 44 years for a crime he did not commit. And so with that, I wanted to just say that that you can go to the website at aim-west.org to see the authentic documentary about the life of Leonard Peltier, and you'll know more about the shootout. So I wanted to say that in these days and of activities that many peoples are involved in, particularly the Indian community. We're on the move, and I wanted to let you know that last Friday, I believe it was the 19th, in Santa Cruz, the University of Santa Cruz, or is it University of California at Santa Cruz, had spoken with the Amamutsan tribal peoples of that area, and the chairman, Valentin Lopez, had sought and successfully attained the university's acknowledgement of the mission bell that they had there on the campus somewhere, I believe in the Han Center of the campus. They had a mission bell there to symbolize and signify the El Camino Real, or the Spanish road that was taken from San Diego up through San Rafael in Northern California here, where the 21 missions were established, and hence the mission bells in each one of these areas. And yet the University Santa Cruz there felt that it's time to take that bell down. And we are very happy to announce that the city of Santa Cruz is now contemplating doing similarly, removing the mission bells that they have around the city. All these bells, ladies and gentlemen, and my relatives, as you know, was a part of an era in the 1920s and 30s, romanticizing the missions and refurbishing them, looking at ways of drawing attention, tourists that is, from throughout the country to come to this area. And so it was very much a romantic propaganda, but yet to the Indian peoples of California, particularly the Mission Indian peoples and the Amamutsans themselves, Chairman Valentin Lopez, they feel the trauma still, intergenerational, if you will, of the symbol of that bell. That it would be rung in the mornings to wake them up and force them out in the fields or to construct the missions. The bell was rung for every occasion, even when it was time to torture and abuse them, which I won't go into detail. That there are many books that are coming out to justify that. But we're on a roll, and hopefully other cities along the route of the El Camino Real will also consider removing the mission bells on behalf of the California Indian peoples who suffered the brunt of the colonization of the Spanish and the Catholic Church. More locally, my relatives here in San Francisco, a campaign was launched by students at Washington High School and their parents, along with the parent committee, who felt that a mural that has been there on the wall since, I believe, the 1930s, and the painter was a Russian immigrant artist. He was considered a progressive in his time, and he drew this 12-piece, I believe, of murals depicting George Washington and his life on plantations and like that. And of course, the name Washington High School bears his name. But several weeks now, for several months that is, this has been in discussion to remove. I might even go further, that the topic of removing the murals go back to the 60s and early 70s by the Black Power movement, the students of that time there at the campus, Native Americans there at the campus, as well as many of the Asian people, students that were going back then, tried to have that removed, and they failed, but the school district felt compelled, if you will, to hire an African American artist to do a parallel mural, if you will, of progressive stages of people of color developing here in the United States, such as the Chicano peoples and the farm workers, the UFW, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and African leaders and Asian leaders. So hence we have had since two types of murals at Washington High School. And the school board met on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and came out with a final vote, and it was in the Chronicle yesterday, Wednesday, that the vote is to remove. It was unanimous. Can you believe that? It was unanimous to take down or cover the mural, whichever is most expedient, so that the students wouldn't any longer have to be witnessing these images of Africans picking cotton and other images, including Indian man spread out dead on the ground, and white colonialists, including George Washington types, walking over and around the body. This despicable. It's deplorable. I'm surprised it was up there so long, and I want to thank the president of the school board of trustees for his decision, as well as the other commissioners who expressed their opinion of that image and that it should be taken down. And to the alumni and those that lined up to keep it, get over it. We're witnessing a revolution in slow motion in a democratic process, and that includes many people that also sought the removal of that painting, regardless of the well intentions, however they might have been from the Russian painter. I would venture to say that he was so progressive that he set the tone of depicting white supremacy on people of color, so that white people themselves, can see the irony of maintaining an institution, and yet the need to educate everyone about the past in a true way. So that time, though, has come and gone. We're 2019. Many people are educated about racism and the history that went on, and feel that they don't need to have to pass by the school lobby when they enter an institution and see these deplorable images, particularly that of an Indian man, dead and laid out, and white people walking over him. If you're interested, you should try and make a point to visit the high school, Washington High School in San Francisco, to know what I'm talking about. So a big thank you to the school board. They're going against the current. There was overwhelming majority of people that wanted it kept intact for the public to learn by what they see. But you know what? Women would not have the right to vote today if they were to go. The decision was made back then, for them to vote, and it was impossible. So this is the political will that is taking shape here, and there's a monetary cost, but it will be absorbed. Meanwhile, I would also recommend we educate ourselves about this man, the first president of this country, George Washington. However well he and others, Indian peoples included, fought against the British, nevertheless, the tone was set in this country of white supremacy, and the pursuit and persecution of Indian people began heartedly after the revolution and the push west to what we've now learned to identify as the manifest destiny. And certainly we know the history that the art, if you want to call it in a decrepit way, of killing people, the art of military warfare and against Indian people was perfected. So by the time that white manifest destiny in the military reached what today is California, the killing of Indian people, California Indian people, suffered the brunt of this manifest destiny, as I elaborated earlier about the Spanish and the missions as well, how they tortured and used them as slaves, and in the case of the missions, the people that died, the Indians that died, they would just bury a hole and throw them in there. So you got holes with a couple hundred or a couple thousand Indians buried along the missions. And so it is with George Washington. Here's another book, President Washington's Indian Wars. Okay, so check this out if you think I'm kidding you. It's well documented that he was for the movement against Indian people. Okay, so I want to talk more about the Amamutsan peoples. They have a a community picnic event that the public is invited to, for you to get familiar with the Ama Mutsun peoples and engage in their activities. But right now, why don't we go to the Bay Native calendar with our good friend Bismarck Delgado.
Good evening, my relatives. This is another edition of the Eagle and Condor calendar reading, and we'd like to thank Janine Antoine and the American Indian Contemporary Arts for supplying the calendar for the Native American community of the Bay Area. Since we last aired, there had been a few key things that have been happening in Indian country. We want to acknowledge Joy Harjo, who will become the first Native American U.S. Poet Laureate. Within the last week, we want to acknowledge Mr. Governor Gavin Newsom for publicly apologizing to the California State's Native Americans for the Gold Rush era and the genocide that had followed since then, and also to Burnett Middle School, who will be renaming that school to Ohlone Middle School. The school's outgoing namesake is named after California's first governor, Peter Burnett, whose racist policies included the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 and attempts to keep African Americans out of California. He also believed that Native American Indians should be eliminated from the newly created state of California. Making the change to Ohlone Middle School is a especially strong statement. Every Thursday night in Oakland, California is the powwow dance and drum practice at the Intertribal Friendship House located at 523 International Boulevard in Oakland, California. That's every Thursday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. There is also a Tuesday yoga class and a Monday Zumba class. All Intertribal Friendship House events are online, and you can visit the website at ifhurbanres.org. That's every Thursday night powwow and dance and drum practice at the Intertribal Friendship House, once again located at 523 International Boulevard in Oakland, California, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. On this Friday, June 28th at 3 p.m., it will be the 16th Annual SF Trans March Community Stage. The street march will be from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., and it will also be a 45-minute walk from Dolores Park to Eddy Street with a short program of speakers before dispersing. This is the 5th annual Trans Fabulous Sober Trans After Party, and that will be held at Wicked Grounds on 7 p.m. This Saturday, the 29th, it will be the Gay Pride Weekend, 11 a.m. The Bates organization will have a prayer, so please join them at Mission Dolores at 19th and Dolores Streets in San Francisco, and L. Frank Manriquez will deliver the prayer and recognize the first peoples on whose lands we now stand on. At noon, it will be the Two-Spirit Potluck at Spark Arts located at 4229 18th Street. Please bring food and drinks to share. We also have a banner making for the Pride events, and we'll have rainbow props and Pride photos provided by Ruth and Landa. And at 5 p.m., it is the 26th Annual Dyke March at 5 p.m. at Mission Dolores at 19th and Dolores. It is a gathering to call up to take up space. That's an action, and that gathering, once again, will be 5 p.m. at Mission Dolores Park located at 19th and Dolores. Also Saturday on June 29th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. is Jeremy Dutcher. He will performing at Yerba Buena Gardens right here in San Francisco. That's at 4th and Mission right near the Metreon Theater. Mr. Dutcher is hailing from New Brunswick. He's an indigenous Wollastock Indian man who is classically trained tenor who won Canada's prestigious Polaris Music Prize last year with his strikingly beautiful debut of his Wollastocki Latina Wakanawa. The musicologist, performer, activist who currently lives in Toronto. Dutcher found his musical mission working in the Canadian Museum and History Archives, painstakingly transcribing the Wollastock songs from a 1907 wax cylinders, long days after the archives turned into long nights at the piano as he created songs in deep dialogue with the voice of his ancestors. And Sunday, June 30th, Gay Pride Day, 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., will be the San Francisco Pride Sunday, and they'll continue their vision dedicated to the visibility, inclusion, and indigenous rights and the environmental protection of our sacred Turtle Island. People are asked to dress traditionally in your best power regalia to represent your tribe or nation. The contingent will be number 043, and they will meet at Spear and Market Streets in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. There will be a prayer to begin at 10:25 and will step off the march at 10:35, ending at Market Street at the intersection of 8th Street. If you are marching, please continue forward ahead to 9th Street, and if you are in a van, remain in the vehicle until Pride staff instructs you to disembark. The Bay Area Native American Two-Spirits community contracts for the contingent are Roger and Amelia. San Francisco Pride offers a second chance to offer a prayer on the main stage after the march. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., the Native American Health Center invites you to the Pride Drop-In space at 1089 Mission Street. Refreshments will be provided, and free HIV testing and good company will be also available. 11 a.m. opening of the main stage. The Bates organization prayer at the main stage and recognize the first people on whose lands that we now stand. Please note, alcohol or mind-altering substances cannot be consumed or distributed in the parade. That is the calendar reading for today. And we also want to thank Janine Antoine and the American Indian Contemporary Arts for supplying the calendar. And we also like to acknowledge Miss Lakota Hardin for maintaining the Bay Native Circle page. We're also Bay Native Circle, KPFA at 94.1 FM, and we'll have a good weekend. Until then, we return to your host for this evening on the Eagle and Condor, Mr. Tony Gonzales.
Oh, thank you very much, Bismarck. And my relatives, Bismarck, as you were reading Joy Hartzell, she National Poet Laureate, right? National.
U.S. Poet Laureate.
Yes, there you go. Wow, that's fantastic. Yes, indeed. And my relatives, as I had spoken about Leonard Peltier, I want to give you his website so you can learn more about him, and that would be at www.whoisleonardpeltier.info. That's all one word, okay? whoisleonardpeltier.info. So you can learn more about his case, and you might want to write to him. He would really appreciate that. And going along with the announcements real quickly that Bismarck had read, and I had mentioned the Amamutsan people who helped bring down that mission bell at the University of Santa Cruz last Friday, the 19th. The Amamutsan peoples are among those that are from the San Juan Bautista area and the Santa Cruz area. And they are having a family day, and you are invited. If I can read that bit of information, and Bismarck, that's the Chitaktak Family Day, Saturday, June the 19th. So that's this Saturday coming, and that'll be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Chitaktak Adams Heritage County Park, 10001 Watsonville Road in Gilroy. Okay, that's in Gilroy. The Chitaktak Adams Heritage County Park, 11 to 2 p.m. Okay, celebrate the Amamutsan culture and discover the heritage of people who lived in this ancient village site. Play traditional games, make unique crafts, learn about native plants, wildlife along the Uva Creek. The event is free and fun for all ages. For more information, you can call 408-846-5632. And as I said, my relatives, we're running short on time here because we do also want to show you a video. But I wanted to just mention the other victories besides the mission bell going down, the mural at Washington High School in San Francisco going down. Just recently, Fairfield Suisun School District, the school board decided to remove these mascots in two of their schools that have been there like 90 years, and they depict derogatory Indian images as mascots. As we've said before, we are not mascots, we are peoples. And that goes for the national football team and the national baseball team. All these mascots of our peoples and cultures needs to be retired. Also, the state of Maine and Vermont has declared Indigenous Peoples Day, and we appreciate Governor Gavin Newsom's apology last week, Tuesday, to Indian peoples of California on behalf of the state of California. But now we want some action with those words. We understand he's put aside $100 million for a museum, a California Indian Museum that's going to be established there in Sacramento. But isn't it ironic that we are the most populous state, and yet California does not recognize state-recognized Indian peoples? We have federally recognized Indian peoples, as we do across the country, over 500. But in California, we do not have the state having recognized, and I think a process for that to happen should be in line with this apology, recognizing California unfederally recognized Indian peoples. Many states across the Union have state-recognized Indian people, yet California does not. So hopefully we'll go through that threshold in the near future. That's it, my relatives. I just want to tell you that Bismarck and I both are on KPFA radio the first Wednesday of each month at kpfa.org or 94.1 FM. And please go to the AIM website at aim-west.org for more information. That's it, my relatives. Once again, pick up the books. Okay, let's read about George Washington and the alumni and those that were for him, and that mural. You were on the wrong side of history there, but let's get over it. We are witnessing the browning of the United States. Hope.
I am the Indian voice. Listen to me.
Meine erste Begegnung mit Leonard Peltier war eine Berührung auf Distanz. Es war im Herbst 1975 und ich überquerte die kanadische Grenze von Ontario nach New York State und wurde von Grenzbeamten festgehalten. Anschließend informierte man das FBI. Warum? Ich war ein langhaariger Ausländer und hatte viel Indianisches im Gepäck. Tapes, Bücher, Adressen, Souvenirs. Und das FBI suchte einen Indianer namens Leonard Peltier. Das FBI befahl, mich festzuhalten, bis sie am nächsten Tag einen Agenten schicken würden, der mich interviewen sollte. Man nahm dann meine Fingerabdrücke und ich verbrachte die Nacht im Gefängnis. Am nächsten Morgen empfing mich der FBI-Agent mit dem Satz: Klaus, was würdest du machen, wenn einer aus deiner Familie ermordet wird? Du würdest Rache wollen und den Mörder finden. Und genau das ist uns passiert. Das FBI ist eine große Familie und 2 unserer Onkel wurden ermordet und jetzt wollen wir den Mörder finden. Und vielleicht kannst du uns dabei helfen.
Sometimes in the shadowed night, I become spirit. The walls, the bars, the gratings dissolve into light, and I unloosen my soul and fly through the inner darkness of my being. I become transparent, a bright shadow, a bird of dreams singing from the tree of life.
Es waren 2 FBI-Agenten getötet worden, und zwar auf dem Indianerreservat Pine Ridge am 26. Juni 1975. Das Ganze geschah bei einer Schießerei zwischen Weißen und Indianern während einer Zeit des Bürgerkriegs. Es war die Zeit nach Wounded Knee und über 60 Mitglieder der Widerstandsbewegung American Indian Movement waren ermordet worden und die Morde nie aufgeklärt. Und in dieser Zeit hatte das FBI eine immense Zahl sogenannter Special Agents auf dem Reservat stationiert.
Es wimmelte von FBI-Agenten in Kampfanzügen und jeder hatte eine Schnellfeuerwaffe.
Zu dieser Zeit hatten die meisten Bewohner in Pine Ridge das Gefühl, Zielobjekte des FBI zu sein. Man übersah jedoch die Straftaten des Stammesvorsitzenden Wilson und seiner Gefolgschaft. George O'Clock, Leiter des FBI-Büros in Rapid City, erzählte mir viele Jahre später, dass das FBI zwischen 1973 und 1976 das Reservat Pine Ridge als Trainingsgelände nutzte und über 2600 Agenten ausbildete. In diesen 3 Jahren geschahen die meisten Gewalttaten.
Die Schießerei geschah auf der Ranch der Familie Jumping Bull, wo Mitglieder des American Indian Movement ein Zeltlager errichtet hatten.
Wenn über den Schusswechsel berichtet wurde, war immer von 30 ausgebildeten, schwer bewaffneten Untergrundkämpfern die Rede. Dem war nicht so, aber das wurde nie berichtigt.
2 FBI-Agenten und ein indianischer Aktivist starben. 3 Haftbefehle wurden ausgestellt und 2 der Gesuchten, Bob Robidoux und Dino Butler, wurden bald darauf gefasst und in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, vor Gericht gestellt. Und jetzt kommt die Ironie des Ganzen. Die beiden wurden wegen Selbstverteidigung freigesprochen. Wäre Leonard Peltier mit ihnen vor Gericht gestanden, wäre er heute wahrscheinlich frei. Er war aber nach Kanada geflohen.
I was working with some people from Kamloops, British Columbia, and they had gathered a number of items to donate to a small boys camp, clothing and food products and stuff like that. And we were going to meet another Indian brother, and we were supposed to meet him. That's the reason why we stopped at Small Boys, to let them know that we had all these items to donate to them, right? That was given for donation.
Die kanadische Polizei verhaftete Leonard Peltier in einem Indianerdorf in den Rocky Mountains.
Next morning they came and arrested me, and one of what's so ironic about it is that I've learned later that my grandfather came from the Metis, the Michifs, or what we call them, and some of those people that was out there, Yellowbird, that was the medicine man or spiritual advisor of there, was a relation of my grandfather's.
Anschließend forderten die US-Behörden seine Auslieferung aufgrund einer Aussage von Myrtle Poorbear, einer Frau, die Leonard noch nie zu Gesicht bekommen hatte. Diese Zeugenaussage war vom FBI erpresst worden. Sie zeigten ihr Fotos von Aname Eckwash, einer Indianerin, die durch Kopfschuss hingerichtet worden war und deren Hände das FBI abgeschnitten und zur Identifizierung nach Washington geschickt hatten. Myrtle Poorbear gab später zu Protokoll:
Sie zeigten mir bestimmte Teile ihres Körpers, die bereits verwest waren. Sie sagten, so würde ich auch enden, wenn ich nicht bereit wäre, mit ihnen zusammenzuarbeiten. Sie sagten, sie könnten mich töten, ohne dafür zur Rechenschaft gezogen zu werden. Ich hatte wahnsinnige Angst. Ich konnte mir vorstellen, dass sie es auch tun würden. Für mich ist das FBI außer Kontrolle, denn wenn es möglich ist, dass sie sich bei dieser Geschichte aus der Affäre ziehen, dann können sie das immer wieder tun. Sie machen das Gesetz, sie schaffen Präzedenzfälle und sie benutzen immer wieder dieselbe Taktik.
Let us forgive the worst among us, because the worst is in ourselves. The worst lives in each of us, along with the best. Let us forgive the worst in each of us and all of us, so that the best in each of us and all of us may be free.
Myrtle Poorbears Falschaussage führte zur Auslieferung. Darin gab sie an, sie sei Leonards Freundin und sie sei dabei gewesen, als er die beiden Agenten erschossen habe.
Um ehrlich zu sein, ich bin da etwas vorbelastet. Der Mann stand zwischen mir und den Kugeln. Das beeinflusst meine Sicht. Und man muss wissen, dass Leonard ein sehr verspielter, liebevoller Typ ist. Die ihn erst in Gefangenschaft kennengelernt haben, wissen das vielleicht nicht. Und Leonard ist auch der Typ, der nicht zögert zu helfen, wenn er um Hilfe gebeten wird.
Der Prozess gegen Peltier war eine ähnliche Farce. Der Richter erlaubte weder die Zeugenaussagen von Myrtle Purbear, noch das Ergebnis des Prozesses in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, wo die anderen beiden Gesuchten freigesprochen waren. Außerdem wurde die Rolle des FBI auf dem Reservat nicht mehr untersucht. Der Richter sagte, Peltier stehe hier vor Gericht, nicht das FBI.
In einem der Aktenkoffer der Agenten befanden sich Dokumente. Ich weiß das, weil ich bei dem Prozess in Cedar Rapids als Anwaltsgehilfin der Verteidigung Einblick in die Unterlagen hatte. Darin befand sich eine Luftaufnahme unseres Lagers mit Angaben, wer wo wohnte. Ich bin bis heute überzeugt, dass sie uns alle umbringen wollten.
Most people see the world as taking sides. I don't.
Die meisten Leute denken heutzutage, man müsse auf einer Seite stehen. Ich nicht. Und ich glaube nicht, dass man auf der staatlichen Seite stehen muss, um das Gesetz zu vertreten. In meiner ganzen Amtszeit als Justizminister wurden die meisten Menschenrechtsverletzungen von Polizisten und Gefängniswärtern begangen. Ihre Verurteilung gehörte zur Durchsetzung der Bürgerrechte. Die Frage war ziemlich klar. Wer schützt die Menschen, wenn die Staatsgewalt die Rechte der Bürger missachtet? Genau so muss der direkte Eingriff durch die Staatsgewalt aussehen. Polizisten und FBI-Agenten werden verurteilt, wenn sie die Rechte der Bürger verletzen.
FBI agents who violate human rights.
Obwohl die Verurteilung auf gefälschte Zeugenaussagen und Meineid beruhte und die Ankläger inzwischen zugeben mussten, dass sie nicht wissen, wer die Agenten erschossen hat, und die Anklage von Mord auf Beihilfe zum Mord heruntergestuft wurde, blieb das Strafmaß von 2-mal lebenslänglich erhalten. Und ein neuer Prozess blieb Peltier bis heute verwehrt.
Peltier may die in prison. I don't think he will.
Ob Peltier im Gefängnis stirbt oder nicht, sein Schicksal wird als der schlimmste Fall von ungerechter Behandlung und illegalem Handeln auf Seiten des FBI in die Geschichte eingehen.
And illegal wrongs committed by the FBI.
The government can and ought to protect human rights.
Regierungen haben die Aufgabe, die Menschenrechte zu schützen. Jedoch sind es in erster Linie Regierungen, die sich einer Verletzung der Menschenrechte schuldig machen. Ironischerweise wird bei allem Gerede über Terrorismus und aller Angst vor Terrorismus vergessen, dass der größte Terrorismus von Staatsregierungen ausgeht. Wenn von Terrorherrschaft die Rede ist, dann bedeutet das meistens, dass Staatsapparate die Bürger terrorisieren.
Die erste Zeit seiner Haft verbrachte Leonard im Hochsicherheitstrakt von Marion, Illinois. 1979 verlegte man ihn dann nach Kalifornien ins Lompoc Prison, harmlos verglichen mit Marion. Dort teilte er seine Zelle mit einem Indianer, der ihm verriet, man habe ihm eine Belohnung in Aussicht gestellt, sollte er Leonard erfolgreich zur Flucht überreden.
Well, I have to be very careful about what I say about this because the retaliation from the Bureau of Prisons for revealing anything, they still retaliate with punishment. So I have to, either I can go ahead and tell you everything that happened there and end up in ADX where I'll be locked up 24 hours a day, or I can just tell you the highlights of it,
No,
I know that the guy that told me that he had been hired to assassinate me proved it to me by showing me that first he had indictments out on him for shooting some Chicago cops. After he had told me this and had the FBI drop those charges, which they don't do here in the United States or any country as far as I'm aware. They don't drop their charges for shooting cops. And he showed me to prove that he was not lying, that they had dropped the charges. I seen the dismissal of charges by the government. I was convinced, it was enough for me.
Jetzt wusste Leonard, sie wollten ihn auf der Flucht erschießen. Er hatte nichts zu verlieren und nahm das Risiko auf sich. Die Wachen schossen auf beide und töteten seinen Mitgefangenen. Ihm gelang die Flucht und er war 6 Tage in Freiheit. Ein Farmer entdeckte ihn in einem Melonenfeld und rief das Büro des Sheriffs an. Der fuhr los und informierte über Funk das FBI. Der Sheriff fand Leonard und verhaftete ihn. Der herbeigerufene FBI-Agent erschien mit gezogener Waffe.
They had me laying on the ground. This young deputy sheriff had me laying on the ground, was sitting on me and handcuffing my hands behind. And he was shaking, he was scared. And the FBI agent laid right down in front of me, put that AR-15 right within a foot from my face. And I looked in his eyes and he said, "You killed my friends." He says, "Now I'm going to kill you."
In meiner Gegenwart wird nicht geschossen, sagte der Sheriff. Wäre der FBI-Agent vor dem Sheriff eingetroffen, wäre Leonard Peltier heute ein toter Mann.
He said, "No, I'm not going to be part of no killings." I changed my mind. And the FBI agent looked up at him, anger, disgust.
So this sheriff saved your life at that moment?
Yeah. Of course, he got up on the stand when we went to trial for the escape and denied it, but him and I know what happened. I'm grateful to him.
Leonards Lebenswille ist bis heute ungebrochen. Er brachte sich selbst das Malen bei. Vom Verkauf der Bilder werden Anwälte bezahlt. Und er begann zu schreiben. Als ich ihn im September 2000 zusammen mit Dick Bancroft besuchte, las er aus seinen Gedichten vor.
I am everyone who ever died without a voice, or a prayer, or a hope, or a chance. Everyone who ever suffered for being an Indian, for being human, for being indigenous, for being free, for being other, for being committed. I am every one of them. Every single one. Yes, even you. I am every one.
When you go through the various checkpoints within the prisons from Marion to Springfield.
Wenn man die Sicherheitschecks in den Gefängnissen durchläuft, geht das schon aufs Gemüt. Allein das ständige Aufsperren der Gitter. Marion, Springfield, Leavenworth. Und dann immer die Freude in Leonards Gesicht zu sehen, das war entwaffnend. Als wir gingen, war es, als würden wir eine Party verlassen.
Ah, they're about 20 years old.
Oh, he had them on last time he had them on.
They're wearing out, man. Don't let me get on new ones.
His warmth and genuine happiness to see people from the outside that were his friends.
Seine Wärme, seine aufrichtige Freude, wenn er Freunde von draußen sah, das war immer sehr bewegend.
Through telephone conversations in the early days and then with these visits.
Und wir waren ja erst durch die Besuche im Gefängnis zu Freunden geworden. Wenn wir gingen, trugen wir diese Wärme mit uns.
of not only his people on the outside, but all of us.
Seine Liebe und seine Aufmerksamkeit gelten nicht nur seinen Leuten, sondern uns allen. Es war das erste Mal, dass jemand hinter Gittern nicht aufgerichtet hat.
It was the first time that I'd ever had somebody behind bars give me a lift.
We are not separate beings, you and I. We are different strands of the same being. You are me, and I am you. And we are they, and they are us. This is how we're meant to be. Each of us one. Each of us all. You reach out across the void of otherness to me, and you touch your own soul.
Das Gesetz zur Religionsfreiheit für Indianer gibt Leonard das Recht, einen Medizinmann zu empfangen und am Ritual der Schwitzhütte teilzunehmen.
You know, we have 4 rounds of ceremony, prayers and songs, and when we come out, we believe that have been purified. We come out anew, and we start our life anew every time we come out of the sweat lodge.
In der totalen Dunkelheit der Schwitzhütte vermag sein Geist zu fliegen und er verspürt innere Freiheit. Im Jahr 2000 wurde er durch Verordnungen von oben um sein Recht der Schwitzeremonie gebracht.
So other people just use it as a sauna, you mean?
Yeah.
Or anything.
Right. You know, and the thing is, if they go in there and violate some rules seriously, they'll take the sweat lodge out completely, and they know this is going to happen with different people, and it's their way of taking the sweat lodge away from us.
This is the tragedy of not having a sweat lodge in one's life. This is a tragedy.
Es ist eine Tragödie, wenn einem die Zeremonie der Sweat Lodge verwehrt wird. Dein Geist stirbt langsam. Die Sweat Lodge ist wichtig für jeden von uns. Und ganz besonders für uns Lakota. Und sie ist vor allem wichtig für Leute, die sich in sehr langer Gefangenschaft befinden.
The behavior of our government towards the incarcerated people in this country and elsewhere in sites.
Das Verhalten unserer Regierung gegenüber Menschen, die inhaftiert sind, ist empörend. Leonard ist zu einem Symbol geworden für die Art, wie sich das FBI auf dem Reservat Pine Ridge in den 70er Jahren gebärdet hat. Mir dreht sich der Magen um, wenn ich sehe, wie wir, die angeblich Zivilisierten, mit denen umgehen, die vom Schicksal benachteiligt sind, die eine andere Hautfarbe tragen, die einen anderen kulturellen Hintergrund haben. Darüber besteht kein Zweifel. Leonard Peltier repräsentiert das moralische Dilemma, in dem wir stecken. Nicht nur für uns in Amerika, sondern für alle in der Welt, die an Gerechtigkeit und Frieden glauben.
Listen to me. Listen. I am the Indian voice. Hear me crying out of the wind. Hear me crying out of the silence. I am the Indian voice. Listen to me. I speak for our ancestors. They cry out to you from the unstill grave. I speak for the children yet unborn. They cry out to you from the unspoken silence. I am the Indian voice. Listen to me. I am a chorus of millions. Hear us. Our eagle cry will not be stilled. We are your own conscience calling to you. We are yourself, crying unheard within you. Let my unheard voice be heard. Let me speak in my heart, and the words be heard, whispering on the wind to millions, to all who care. to all with ears to hear and hearts to beat as one with mine. Put your ear to the earth and hear my heart beating there. Put your ear to the wind and hear me speaking there. We are the voice of the earth, of the future, of the mystery. Hear us.
So what's left for us to do? I think that you ought to grab a pen, pencil.
Was sollten wir nun machen? Nehmen Sie einen Stift und schreiben Sie einen Brief an Präsident Obama und bitten Sie um die Freilassung von Leonard Peltier. Nicht nur, weil er unschuldig ist, sondern weil er sich schon seit über 38 Jahren unzulässig im Gefängnis befindet. Er braucht die Freiheit. Bitte schreiben Sie noch heute einen Brief an Präsident Obama.
Well, he's done over 38 years in prison. And he needs to be free. Please, write a letter. Write a letter to Obama today.
So they have no excuses for doing what they're doing right now, and we need help.